My name is Cristina Oliveros, and my son had an episode about 4 years ago, and I can clearly remember it was January. He woke up and told me, "Mom, I'm not feeling well." So I asked him, "Okay, well, we'll go to the doctor, and what do you feel? Aches, pains, whatever?" And he said, "No, it's in my head." Okay, so I immediately called his primary care physician, and we had an appointment that same day. So she was asking him some questions, and come to find out, he had been struggling as far as with depression, suicidal thoughts. He even cut himself, which I didn't realize because he hid the cut from, on his hand. He hid it. And so the doctor prescribed basic meds. And he did okay for a while. But then in March, April, he had a major meltdown, to the point where I had to call 911 for assistance.
Can you briefly describe the meltdown?
He was having suicidal ideation. He had a plan, but he never followed through. He was hallucinating. He was in a very vulnerable spot. His personality was totally different. So once I called 911, I explained to them that he was under medical care. He was having psychotic episodes, and
It's okay, it's all right. That's okay.
That's the one you know.
You have to back up just a little bit to, he was having suicidal thoughts.
Right, he was having suicidal thoughts, so the operator then, said that she would send out, I guess, the police and the fire department. So all of a sudden, I was bombarded with a whole slew of emergency personnel, and pretty much, I believe it was like the crisis intervention team, and I explained to the sergeant in charge what was happening, and so my son is a big burly guy, so the person in charge was a huge officer, and it was handled in a professionally, and with the questions that they were asking him, and being that he was not, cognizant of his environment, they did tell me that he had to go. He had to be hospitalized. So he was hospitalized at NPC, and so they transported him, which was a scary thought, because to be transported, he had to be handcuffed. However, the good thing was that he was voluntarily doing so. Otherwise, if it was involuntarily, it would have been terrible. So, because at the time he was already, 22, he was 22. Obviously, once he got there, they couldn't release any information to me because he was an adult. He had to give permission. So finally, I was able to. He finally gave permission, and the doctor called me, and he had to stay several days in the hospital, but still fully with not a full comprehension. So this happened like in April.
Let's stop right here just for a second. Quick question. As a mom, what was going through your mind?
I was terrified, scared, because I didn't know, I didn't have control over what he was going through. And so, being that no one in my family had ever gone through that, or that I knew of, I didn't know who to reach out to. And I mean, my mind was going 1,000 miles an hour. So luckily, at work, well, at my former employer, my supervisor, when I called in the next day saying I couldn't come in because of what had happened, so she had gone through a similar experience because her daughter at the time was now 32, but when she was a teenager, younger, she was diagnosed as autistic and having issues as well. So she knew about the hospitalization, she knew about the medication, and she called me, when she had time, and she said, take as much time as you can. Concentrate on your son. And she gave me some advice as well, to reach out to her if I had any questions. So that was one of the episodes. Within a year, he was hospitalized 5 different times. So in one of the hospitalizations at Methodist Hospital, as I was waiting to see him, of course you have to leave everything behind. There was a pamphlet, a NAMI pamphlet. So I grabbed that and held on to it. So upon a few days before his release, I did meet with the psychiatrist. Yeah, psychiatrist.
From NAMI or
from Methodist.
Okay.
And so she finally, or with her and the group, finally discovered or gave me the diagnosis of, he was diagnosed as bipolar 1. I had no idea what that was, so I started, on my own time, I started researching that, and a lot of the symptoms throughout the years, when he was early teenager, I kind of picked up on that he had been going through that, but he never told me that he was going through that. He was ashamed. He thought that I was going to disown him. So once he was diagnosed, fortunately, I'm the type of person that is proactive in trying to research on my own what I can do to help my son. Of course, he's my only child. And speaking with him that it's okay what he's going through, that I would not disown him because of thinking that he may be quote unquote crazy. So I've supported him with whatever decision he's been making. And later on with that NAMI brochure, I saw the different courses that they had. So that I did go to, it was like a very basic foundations course, and that really was an enlightenment to fully understand what was going on with him, and to know that I wasn't alone.